Welcome to Origin Stories. I'm RD.
I'm Parrot.
We're telling stories behind the digital art revolution
Each week we interview top artists.
and live stream with the community.
Let's go. Today is tomorrow's origin story.
Patrick Amadon, welcome to Origin Stories.
Thank you very much for having me, Roger. This is great. It's an honor to be on your show.
I'm happy. I mean, this came together in such a wonderful way. I think we could tell folks we were playing some NFT poker and engaging in some thoughtful and deeper conversations. And I think it became clear to both of us that, hey, let's take this conversation and let's make it a formal one.
No, it sounds great. No, it's a fun game. I mean, just layering degeneracy on top of degeneracy. So, you know.
And here we are, a little less degenerate today, but nevertheless, let's start here. Patrick, what is your origin story?
Yeah, wow, it is it's quite a question, right? It's a teacher that got me started. I grew up a very typical family. Two brothers, were very close in age. I was always a doodler. Growing up, I mean, you kind of look for like, hey, what are the signs? Drawing comic book characters when Image came out.
Speaking to my heart, Patrick. Speaking to my heart.
I was all about it. I mean, just spent hours and hours and hours like trying to draw characters, and just that was really the first thing that really got me into it. But came from a very sports-centric family. Right, it was soccer, went to baseball, back to soccer, and just kind of that was the expectation. That's what we did, and was good at it. And so it wasn't until high school where I had an art history class. Go figure. It was the one class in the day where you got to go sit in a dark room. They had a giant screen, and they would just show images of art, and the teacher was hilarious. So you just got to hang out, talk art, and learn all about all the Renaissance and all the figures throughout history with a teacher that was just really amazing. And it clicked that year in high school. And I was like, wow, this is actually something I'm really into. So flash forward to college, still trying to be practical. So I got a degree in economics, but I carved out room for art history. So I got a dual degree, art history and economics. And just dove full on into art history. I loved it, and I knew that was kind of the direction everything would go. But I always thought it'd be more on the other side of it, in the gallery or the museum space, not necessarily as an artist. I moved out to Los Angeles, and on a whim, ultimately. A couple of friends and we went to the art store, we bought some canvases and some paint, and we just started painting for kicks. And then they stopped. That was it for them. But I went back to the art store the next day, and I just got a lot more stuff, and I just dove fully into it. I never really explored it like that before. And 2012 rolls around. I've started doing it, taking up the majority of my time. Connected with a few galleries. Twitter came out, started sharing my work on social media, built up a pretty decent following, and I was doing oils at the time. I really liked abstract stuff. Richter, obviously Rothko, kind of all the abstract expressionists were really kind of what spoke to me early on. But I realized that it took about a month to finish a piece. Every layer takes at least a week to dry. I mean, thick oils do not dry fast, even with fans. So I realized that on social media, you probably need to do more content than one piece a month. Mm-hmm. So we'd have these big lulls. So I said, well, what can I do? What else do I like? And I always liked glitch art. Mm-hmm. So I was like, what if I start glitching some of my paintings? Then I'd have two things I could do per month, right? I was like, that's double the content. Let's go for it. So I just dove right into the glitch art scene. At the time, you couldn't even host. This is going to be contentious, but you couldn't host. Twitter couldn't host GIFs. Mm-hmm. And I have to say GIFs as just kind of a PSA, because Steve Wilhite, the creator of the GIF, said it was the GIF, not a GIF. He said GIF. And I always have to go with the artist's intention here. I know a big corporation called Giphy came along in 2013 and said it's GIFs, but I'm always going to err on the side of the artist and not the corporation. So
that is a good piece of art history here.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I'm with you then. So it's GIF.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Well, converting one person at a time here.
Well, maybe we can convert a few more. Let's go for it.
Yeah, hopefully, right? So Twitter couldn't host at the time, so found myself on Tumblr with a lot of the GIF community over there. A lot of whom are in NFTs actually. So we got Max Capacity is here, Kid McGrath is here, X Copies over here. So there's a pretty vibrant GIF art community on Tumblr that has somehow carried throughout the ages here. So that's basically that was it until through 2016 or so. In 2015, I connected with Jerry Saltz from New York Magazine, and had an interesting exchange with him. We were talking about my art, and he told me that basically it was a dead end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jerry.
I said my stuff was a dead end. I said, okay, all right. Why is that? Because at the time, I was up to just under 200,000 followers on Twitter, and had a really good thing going, and was getting some attention from galleries, and it was a combination of traditional and digital, right? So traditional stuff would go with galleries, the digital stuff just for kicks, right? I mean, it's just fun sharing it with people online. There were no NFTs at the time, so what else could you do, right? So purely for kicks. And I said, okay, like, what's the deal? And he explained to me that basically the reason that everybody loves abstract art is because their teachers loved abstract art. They taught them how much they loved abstract art in school. And I'm thinking back to my history lessons. I'm like, yeah, my teachers really did push. They really did push the abstract expressionists, didn't they? Maybe some element of how much I love them is from my education. He said basically that school is dead. Those guys had their run. The art world has moved on, and he called it zombie formalism. Basically, formalism being art taught by the teachers, and the zombie came from the fact that the movement was dead. But we all kept dragging it along by continuing to create new versions of a dead form or a dead movement. So I said, okay, that's it's hard. When you get really good criticism, it can often be hard to kind of take in at first, right? Because it kind of shocks you. And I thought about it, processed it, and I knew he was right about this. And that's when I made.
If I could interject there, what had you come down on the side of you're right versus maybe going a little further into why he might be wrong or why that might not be the case?
Yeah. I thought about it, and I felt that there was enough truth in what he was saying about me not being original, not going in my own voice enough, not coming up with something new. Abstract has been explored so thoroughly. And so, over the past, 60, 70 years at this point, right? It's like, what, I think it would serve me to pivot right now and start exploring some routes that may be more unique to my identity, to my experience, to my vision and my perspective. And so that set me off on a completely different path. And I am very, very grateful for that. So that was, I think, kind of the end of my early career and kind of the beginning of actually moving on to work that I think, I just feel a lot better about and is more connected with me. So
it's an interesting moment.
Yeah.
An interesting juncture, right? To be given such direct, in this case, what turned out to be quite constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And what are those first steps that you do take to redefine your approach and your focus?
Right. I mean, it's like so many things. It's like, okay, what do you do? Right. I mean, it's kind of tearing down the whole building and starting from scratch. I mean, you just can't put a little paint on top of that. Right. I mean, there has to be something fundamental about how it's structured and rebuilt. So I ended up tearing the whole thing down and really starting over. And, that was kind of when I began to start trying to pick out the elements that I really enjoyed and that I felt helped convey my messages. And I guess take it a step back. One of the so I did GIFs based on physical paintings I did, but also in 2013 was the beginning of the Syrian civil war. And when it got started, it wasn't really covered by any of the major news outlets. It was just kind of, oh, that's happening over there. It wasn't the humanitarian crisis that we all know it is today. At the time when it was first getting started, it was just, okay, something else is happening outside the world. We don't really care. That was kind of the reception from Western media. And just seeing some of the images of what happened over there, is kind of if people would actually see what was going on, I think people would be horrified, rightfully so, and they would actually change. They would think about it differently, intervene. It would be something, right? So I felt the GIF was a very interesting format because I wanted to kind of capture the disconnection that we have here with the reality over there. And I thought the glitch made sense for that thematically, right? Like, it's like there's a glitch in the matrix, right? Like there's something in reality that isn't real. There's like something off. And with the speed that you can, change images too, you can make one image, you can take 10 images, and then you can just have them cycle very quickly for something that could, I feel, almost be more visually impactful than just looking at a single image. So just a rapid succession on loop of these pretty horrific images of what's happening over there with kind of a light glitch on top of it, I felt showed in better detail kind of what was happening. So just tried to use my Twitter platform as a bit of a bullhorn to kind of forward that. So social impact art has always been something important to me, and people's rights causes, I think, I'd like to positively contribute to awareness and to, making things better for people via the privilege and platform that we have, being in the situation that we are, in the situation that I'm in. So that was kind of the beginning of that. But then flash forward back to the present, kind of like, I guess 2016 rather, like kind of where do you go from here? The photos, the glitch paintings, the traditional paintings. I realized that I think to move my art forward, I need to kind of find my own unique style, and abstract traditional art wasn't it. And the glitch is based on abstract traditional art. I felt it was riffing on something that I wanted to move past. So that wasn't quite right either. So I knew that moving forward, I'd really want to combine the three elements that mattered most to me, which was, photography, some element of social awareness, impact. Banksy is a big inspiration in that regard, right? Recently, Badia Chow from China, artists that are using art to highlight, social inequalities, just issues with society in general, issues with regimes, issues with, so, I think here, especially kind of in the crypto space, right? I mean, we're all a little bit outside the box.
Sometimes far more than a little bit, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of themes here in Web3, kind of with the ethos of the space, that I think are pushing society forward in a really positive light, and being able to highlight the more positive elements of kind of what we're all doing here, I think is really important. So, and speaking of that too, right? I've never found something like this space before. And it's been a privilege to meet everybody in real life too. I host a meetup in Los Angeles every Thursday at 2 p.m. We do an NFT coffee. So just trying to get everyone in the space early together to meet each other and form that foundation, and just, obviously New York too, like NFT NYC, meeting everybody, just meeting people in the space, in real life, like we are here. I've never found my people like I have here, other interactions with people, friends from, LA, friends from playing soccer, friends from, I've never had the same level of connection I've had with the number of people from the NFT space. Just like, wow, like we have so much in common. Like how it took NFTs to like connect all of us, which is a pretty cool thing. So, yeah, so 2016.
Real quick, that's a sentiment that's shared by so many in this space. And I find it as amazing as you do. I mean, I'm sitting here nodding along with you, and I don't know what exactly it is, if it's that we all have that risk-taking element to us, maybe that level of social, tech, cultural consciousness. I mean, whatever it is, it all came together in a pretty stunning fashion these past few years.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, like, even right, like our poker game, right?
Yeah.
We have a bunch of people that are into NFTs, like art, and like playing poker. I mean, that's just, we got a lot to go on just right there, right? So
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, so keep walking us. 2016, 17.
So 2016 is when it ends for a while. Yeah, I went through some pretty rough personal stuff, some mental health issues, and basically fell off the map for about 5 years. I stopped posting on social media, just worked a little bit on art, but was really just kind of focused on health, really. And it's funny, finally got through it, as much as one gets through it, in December of 2020. And in March is when I found NFTs. So that was the change over the past year has been, I feel incredibly fortunate. It's been extraordinary.
A wild process. So that means you found NFTs as Beeple was happening at Christie's.
That is how I found NFTs.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was just I saw Beeple, I saw somebody sold digital art. I was like, somebody sold digital art. How does this work? How does one sell digital art? Because I'm still thinking, 2013, 2014 Twitter, we just make art for kicks for a group of friends and a following on social media. You can sell digital art now. So immediately, just 100% dove into it, spent my requisite 3.5 hours trying to figure out what cryptocurrency was and how that tied in with MetaMask and recovery phrases, and full in. Like, I just knew it immediately though. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, I have to do this. Like, I think this is what I've been waiting for. So I did that. I didn't want to, I wanted to approach the space in the right way though, too. I think that's really important. It's all, I knew from before, from building up, a community on Twitter. It's all about community. So I spent the first 4 months I'd been off social for 5 years, right? Everyone active who I was connected with before was pretty much gone. Right. So it's just kind of restarting again. I mean, almost starting from scratch. There's just probably 20 people I recognized.
But you had experience in starting from scratch.
Yeah. Done it. I did it once before. So I started from scratch again. It's just but it was so interesting. I just wanted to meet everybody, and I wanted to know what they were doing, like how they were involved in the space, what art they were making. That was it, right? I just dove in and I just wanted to meet everybody. I wanted to meet everybody, around LA, and I wanted to meet everybody on the space and just know kind of what people were up to, why they're doing it, like what themes, like why just, learned all about the history, right? I wanted to know, all about the Pepes and, the punks and Mooncats and like the full crypto art history, kind of how it led to where we are today. But really just spent 4 months intensely, probably 10, 12 hours a day, just engaging with people on Twitter and just like trying to like just organically build up relationships and just meet everybody I could. I knew that was a space that I want to be in for the long term. And, just all of a sudden, like everything completely changed joining the space. And
that's what strikes me about what you just said is how balanced coming into the space when it's white hot, right? When people sells for $69 million at Christie's and you having an art background and knowing your stuff, for you to have that perspective of saying, okay, 2 things. I need to, number one, take that step back and meet everybody and engage with the community, before rushing into anything. And I also want to understand everything I can about the history of the space, the history of the NFT, the earliest projects, how they led forward. That to me strikes me as brilliant from day one. And I want to stop here to highlight that, because I think anyone listening to our conversation right now, if maybe they are on the newer end, if maybe they've just come into NFTs and for whatever reason they find this conversation, I would really key in on those 2 things. It's developing that sense of community engagement and doing your due diligence, going back to the earliest days of NFTs and understanding how some of those early days project walk themselves forward, why some of them are relevant again today, why some of them have exploded today, I think is really, really important.
No, thank you. I don't know any other way of handling it though. That's what felt right for me. And,
I do think though we see a number of people talk who came into the space relatively recently talk about the history of the space, and we've seen some funny charts where it's Bored Apes and forward, and I think that's right. That's a bit of revisionist history in a sense. So I like that you highlighted the literal earliest projects out there.
Yeah, I'm a little quantum, right? Let's
fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Art Gnome is great for that. There's a couple people in the space, obviously yourself included, that I think are just like a kind of a must follow and kind of research right at the beginning. I come from an art history background, right? Like it's all about contextualizing, like understanding, where things are from. Without context, you don't know why things are, and you don't have any idea of like the relevance of what somebody has done without knowing kind of what preceded it. Which you brought it up earlier, which is also kind of I think the failure in everybody's understanding of provenance, right? We've invented the perfect provenance from a technical standpoint, right? We can see when it was created by which wallet. We can see every owner, every bid, every transition, every movement of we know everything. But, for the art itself, the provenance is also one of story and context, right? This piece was influenced by this piece. The artist's influences were these several artists. It was a reaction to this particular piece of censorship or whatever it was, and understanding, hey, this is the flow that led to why this single red pixel means something, right? Without knowing the story behind it, I mean, you really don't have much other than a perfect technical provenance, which, not to undersell, is fantastic. But I think the two together is really what makes it special and makes it stick. So
I agree. I mean, I remember the earliest days of NFT Origin Stories, it was December of 20, where I'm looking around as I'm becoming absolutely obsessed, did my research over the summer into the fall and became obsessed with NFTs. And I'm looking around, and at the time I was writing literally threads for every artist dropping on Nifty Gateway, which was like the show, the most hyped show in town at the time. But I'm looking around thinking, who's talking about these artists? Where are they coming from? Why are they releasing this particular artwork? I want to know. I started asking those questions, and fast forward to what we're doing here today is because of that. Exactly what you're saying. We have the technical provenance, but there's much more to it than that.
No, I love it. And that's why I'm honored to be on your show, and this is why I love what you're doing. I mean, like, we need the story, we need the context, and I think people are starting to come around to it. I think people are starting to look for it. But a year or two from now, I mean, people are going to be demanding it.
Yep.
So, providing this, I think is great. So, but yeah, the other thing is, like, I didn't want to sell anything when I first got into the space. And I definitely didn't want to recycle my old work. I had a bunch of stuff from making digital art for, the last decade. But I didn't want to come in space and start selling it. My compromise was I loved and still love the Tezos community, right? I mean, right when Hen first got started, I kind of saw this kind of upstart artist to artist kind of rebellion against high fees and everything. It was a movement, right? And the community was incredibly tight. If somebody bought some art, it didn't come out of the ecosystem. Like, the artist would then go buy more art from other artists. I mean, I don't know. It could have been just one sale originally that propelled all of it, because the money just kept going from artist to artist to artist to artist, and without any friction from the gas fees. The velocity of a single Tez is incredibly high. But the community is also very engaged too, and that was what was really fun about it at the beginning. So the compromise I could make was that I would take a handful of my one-of-ones from 2013 through 2016, and occasionally just drop it and not say anything to anybody. I wouldn't, not on Twitter or not anywhere, just put it out there, and just for some really low amount, just like whoever found it first got it.
It's fun.
That was it. That was it. So,
how do you decide your literal first work that you put on the blockchain? Because I've always found that to be such a special thing, especially as someone who does believe, whatever the twists and turns and ups and downs this space takes, I do believe that's going to be quite meaningful in the future. So, at someone like yourself who is so thoughtful, I'm sure you have an understanding that might be a special thing.
Yeah.
What is the artwork, and how do you choose it?
All right. This is one of the biggest mistakes I made in the space.
Oh no.
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't fully appreciate how important the provenance, your genesis, like all of these elements that seems kind of so secondhand now. When I first joined the space, it's like, I don't know anyone here. I have a good following, but I don't know anybody here. So, back in the old days, I did lots of giveaways. So I just, hey, whoever, like, engage with this post, and I'm just gonna randomly send out some physical art to you. So I sent off a lot of physical art back in the day just for kicks. So I joined the space. I was like, oh, great. So I minted a piece. Sounds terrible, and it really is truly terrible. It's literally the worst thing anyone can do. I joined the space. I took one of my old pieces. I minted it on OpenSea. it was a piece I really liked too. And I said, okay, cool. You know, like retweet this and, you know, somebody's randomly going to get this, you know, my ETH Genesis. And sure enough, like some random person ended up getting it. I sent it to them and I said, you should hold on to this. Like, this is going to be worth something. Like, just trust me, hold on to this, you know, like, I think it'll be a really good story. Just please don't list it for sale.
Mm-hmm.
The next day,
I'm already cringing.
the next day, 2 weeks, they put it up for sale. I'm like, really? I'm like, I'm like, hey, can you please take it down? You know, it was a giveaway. You know, I wanted to do something nice. Just like, they ignore me.
Oh no.
And then a couple months pass, and I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I deleted the giveaway post altogether. I was just like, I'm just gonna forget about this. Like, that was dumb. I get on Superrare. I move forward a little bit. It's like, that really was bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
And meantime, they dropped it down to an ETH, and I was like, you know what? I have to destroy this. So I bought it and I burned it.
You did? Oh wow. You brought your Genesis mint full circle.
Yeah. So I bought it, I burned it, it's gone. So now my ETH Genesis is my first piece on Superrare.
All right, so talk about that. And hopefully a much more positive story. But you did button up that story. I mean, you learned, you cleaned it up, right? and shifted your career forward on the blockchain.
Yeah. It's you know, it's funny, you know, as you know, I played a lot of poker. That was a principal source of income for a number of years. You know, both playing live poker and also playing online prior to it all getting shut down. Poker lessons are expensive. You know, every time you learn something, mm-hmm. It costs you quite a bit of money. Mm-hmm. Until you get into crypto. The lessons come at a premium, right? So
very true.
Yeah. So I decided that I only wanted to do new work. Mm-hmm. I was only going to sell new work. You know, everything else, you know, I only kept a handful of pieces from my early career. But I only wanted to do new work. So I painted kind of a 4x5 foot, it was a abstract with vinyl tape. I wanted to do a glitch painting, like I did my original glitch paintings on, when I first got started with glitch. So I wanted to do something that called back to that. Mm-hmm. So I did the painting, I glitched it, and then that was my first piece. I wanted to draw a full circle from where I got started to where I'm getting started now. And that was the idea. Walk us through
some. I'm looking at it right now. Glitch painting 0011 0001. Talk us through the story of doing it, bringing it forth, and then how everything transpired from minting forward.
Yeah. Well, I knew from the very beginning, maybe I guess like a couple months in, that I really wanted to be on Superrare. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to mint anything on Ethereum anywhere else. So I was just going to write it out. I didn't know how long it would take. I was just going to write it out until I got on the platform I wanted to be on. And I did at the end of June. Mm-hmm. You know, from the community, right? That was the thing. You know, it was just from building relationships, from building up, you know, just organically, person to person, like one at a time, just building up a network of people that, you know, were supportive and, you know, friends with. So that's how I got there. but yeah, it was, you know, I wanted to do something that would be the beginning of what was new. And I knew that getting on Superrare, I knew that this was going to be the beginning of something new. And I knew that it would be something that would be loud. I mean, I knew it was going to be life-changing. I knew that things were going to go in a very different direction in a very good way. So I wanted to start again where I started, geez, almost a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I did everything I did before. I painted something I really liked, glitched it, you know, and just put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
how do you decide how to put it out there? So in terms of, are you thinking about list prices and reserves and how that's going to go down? Do you have expectations for it at the time? Are you committed to just, you know, putting it out there and seeing how it flies? What are your thoughts?
yeah, that's an interesting question, right? I mean, I get that question a lot. You know, over the past few months, you know, I've been mentoring in Mikel's vertical crypto art residency, which is, by the way, a fantastic program. What she's done is incredible in the space.
She's great. She's really great.
Yeah. But a lot of the artists getting started, it's like, well, what do I price it for? How do I price? And I have no idea. You know, I have no idea how to price it. So I said, you know, let's just let the market figure it out. Right. For the first, I knew I was going to do this for the first couple. So I just put a 0 reserve, and I just started an auction immediately. Whoever buys it, buys it. It's kind of the same thinking as the random Tezos pieces, right?
Yep.
It's if you like it and you find it, it's yours. I'm not too concerned with the amount of money I get from it. It's more just starting to put work out into the world and just let the chips fall where they may, you know. So, and it worked out really well. So yeah.
So tell us the story for those unfamiliar. How does it go down?
Yeah, so I put out my piece, and I immediately get a bid from Bat Soup Yum, who's become a dear friend. Also, just a very socially conscious and forward individual. So I mean, I think he's been really great for the space. So I mean, immediately I'm like, great, like this is total success. We've surpassed all expectations. Like, I'm so happy that this worked out. And then Sartoshi pips him. I was like, this is fantastic. This is surreal. And Bat ends up winning the Genesis piece, and Sartoshi ends up picking up the next piece at auction.
The next piece is Warrior, right?
Yes.
And how do you make the decision of cadence at that point? So you've decided, you've now landed on Superrare, which was your intent. You said, hey, this is where I'm going to make my mark on the Ethereum blockchain. And now all of a sudden, first work goes really, really well. To excellent members of the community, as you mentioned, things are off and running. Now, when am I minting next? I'm sure that's another question you get in vertical crypto art residency.
I mean, I don't really ever have anything for sale. I have something for sale maybe like 3% of the time, because everything has been very fortunate. Everything sells, you know, within a day or two. And then it's just, I've got four pieces right now hanging in my studio. As fast as I can go, it looks like it's kind of about a month between pieces. So I've been about, that's the cadence, has been generally about 1 a month. So I'd love to speed that up to, like, you know, every 4 or 5 weeks, but it's been, you know, every 5 or 6 weeks as of right now. I mean, I'm, you know, like this morning I woke up at 4:45, you know, was off taking photos with the good light.
Yeah.
You know, it's always the photo, actual physical painting, and then the glitch. So it just takes it just takes a long time to do, and the paintings take a long time to dry, and it just so I'm about one a month right now.
You know, I think there are legitimately a number of different ways that the space and the blockchain and minting in general and supply can be approached. But I am pretty confident that that pace that you just mentioned, I mean, regardless of the, like I said, I always go back to the twists and turns or the ups and downs. I think that type of a cadence will be smiled upon. I think it will be like a very, very natural rhythm, like that quantity of pieces over the course of a year, especially. I mean, it sounds like something that's incredibly high effort from your end.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You know, and that's the thing, right? I mean, it is forever on the blockchain. I only want to put out my best work. You know, like I don't want to speed it up. I'm not even that concerned about the money I get from the pieces. What's far more important for me at this stage is just connecting with new people. You know, and finding the right collectors. I mean, everyone you connect with on that level who invests in you and invests in your art, you know, you'd like them to be a supporter, you'd like them to be engaged, you'd like a relationship, so that's so much more important than, and I don't want to sound flippant, but like a few ETH here or a few ETH there. It's obviously important, and it's a ton of money for a lot of people in the world, but you know, long term, you know, I think it's all relationships, and it's all about finding people that you vibe with, and find people that you can grow with, and find people that, you know, 20 years from now when we're doing, you know, the origin story recap, and you know, they'll look back. I mean, like, they're still going to be there.
I hope that the one that we do 20 years from now is like our 10th at that point in time, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Let's make it an every other year thing.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. You know, I mean, people should do whatever they want to do. You know, there's nothing wrong with flipping. Right. I think this one of the nice things about the space is that we just let people be themselves, and that's fine. Whatever their objective is, like, go for it. So I'm fine with that, but I'm very proud that none of my pieces are listed for any real amount.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, Warrior is up for 63.990 ETH. You never know.
Yeah.
Right. I think we have a 63 ETH reserve there, and that's it. That's a wrap.
Yeah. That's great. I'm happy with that. So I'm not going to be doing auctions moving forward for a while. I don't want to shoot up in price. I think X Copy is a really good example. His trajectory, I think, is very interesting. He had a long period where he's just grinding out one of ones on Superrare before NFTs became a thing. So he ended up, there's a large base of his work out there, right? So you have plenty of collectors, plenty of people engaged. I think it was almost a bit of a trap if you start a bidding war on something early, and then you kind of get stuck playing the hype and floor game. I do not want to play the hype and floor game. I'm never gonna say, oh, look at this bid on my work. Who's gonna beat this bid? Oh, look at somebody met the reserve. Oh, somebody, like, I'm never gonna tweet about somebody, and not because I don't appreciate it. Right? If you meet the reserve price and trigger an auction, I'm really happy. But I do not want to use your investment in my career to get another bid from somebody else. Like, if you want it, good luck. I'm not gonna try to lever that to get more money out of somebody else. So, like, let the chips fall where they may, right? So,
I mean, again, just a very grounded, long-term oriented perspective where you really are thinking those 20 years out. You're thinking of that episode of Origin Stories 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And and painting the course between now and then, which I love. I mean, that's something that sings to my heart, where I understand. And again, I think we've both made it clear that there are many different ways that people can successfully approach this, and so there's no shade on anyone approaching it differently. But I do, like, I naturally gravitate more towards that. Let's think all the way down the road. Let's think how certain moves that are made now may set some things up for not such a great end in a year from now, and then you're going to have some trials and tribulations to get through if the hype gets too hot.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. No, I'm glad you say that. Yeah, no, there's I don't want to come across as being judgmental, because different strokes, right? Like,
right.
Everybody does their own thing. For me personally, like, I really don't like hyping anything around price. I mean, you've seen a space. I mean, we have everything from collectible projects to one-of-ones to collections. You can hype anything. There's a limited supply. It's very easy to temporarily adjust the price of anything. But then, I mean, how much time, how much effort can you put into things? If you artificially pump the price now, well, you got to artificially pump the price the next one, and you gotta keep it up, and you have to keep this inflated price. Otherwise, it falls, and everyone's kind of like, why is it not working anymore?
Right.
I think if you just like treat it organically and just build properly from the beginning, you can redirect all that effort you'd have to put into kind of driving a hype cycle into actually just making art, engaging with people. I mean, we have so little time.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
Keep walking us forward, because I'm on your Superrare page now, and I encourage anyone to go there, and Twitter show notes we'll pop it up there as well. But so we have glitch painting, we have warrior, and then take us to anything that comes to mind, another particularly meaningful artwork on your Superrare journey.
Yeah. So there's Screen right after that. Owns again, just great collector. Really happy to have connected with him. He's an advisor to Monogramma, which is a social impact DAO, which is I think doing some really great things in the space. And we've been working on a project for the past 6 months together. But Screen, I think you're just always playing with different things, right? And how we engage the Web3 world, right? How we I wanted to tweak the cadence of the actual GIF itself. That was just I think it captured a lot about just how I feel about how I engage the space, and just from a physical standpoint. I mean, yeah, it's all digital, but just like physically how we engage the space. I mean, it's kind of on the nose, but I wanted to
it's interesting viewing Screen in context with everything else that you have up. Right? If you treat Superrare as a gallery and you go to your collection page, it is wild. I have it in the center of my screen, and then just having everything around it that's glitching, of course, at a much more rapid rate. It does take center stage in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I'm proud of that piece. It's just it's very different than the other pieces. Transient is another. I've always kind of been drawn to kind of decay and things, juxtaposing things that may not fit, or looking at just kind of disjointed elements. Kryptonio's piece with the tiger by the bridge in downtown LA. I think we're kind of in a weird period right now. I mean, as digital goods are now discrete. I mean, that's just kind of the beginning of, I think, a pretty inevitable trajectory towards a far more digitally centered existence. And we're right at the edge of the rabbit hole, even right now. So I think that it's going to be interesting kind of looking back years from now, and just kind of seeing what got left behind in the actual physical, natural space, kind of what ghosts are there from the past, and kind of what we choose to let decay because we no longer see that as necessary to keep up. So
I feel like we could have, now that we're approaching various rabbit holes that we could very easily dive
Yeah.
into. So maybe,
Yeah.
maybe we'll find a time, maybe we do a space sometime and,
yeah, I'd love to.
and dig into some deeper elements, because that, now I'm about to
Yeah.
veer completely off course.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And then how about, so go from that piece to a piece that I noticed recently. I believe it was around, no, I guess First Street Bridge was around the poker game that we had played together, but Vertigo was one that I noticed of yours. Talk through, I mean, either one of those pieces, but maybe start with Vertigo.
Yeah, so I'd never done a 4-up before. And let me back to the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, go for it.
You know, so behind each square, there's an image from New York. It's a top down, looking from the top of a building down into an alley below. And they're all spinning. Yeah, it's just kind of the feeling looking down from the top of the building, but also kind of the feeling looking into the metaverse and all of the consequences and the inevitable change we're all going to be experiencing from an identity standpoint.
Yep.
Purpose, everything, jobs. I mean, all of it. Like everything will change very, very rapidly from this point moving forward.
Yeah.
And you know, our identity is kind of at the center of it. And look at us, we're, you know, kind of collection of like anons, faces, and pixels for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you see the apes you mentioned earlier. You see the apes, you see the cats, you see doodles. You see people carving out entirely new identities for themselves with entirely new, different groups of people. You know, I would be shocked if. I mean, there's so many passionate members of so many of these different communities that I would imagine that a lot of people feel a lot more connected to their metaverse kind of PFP collectible communities now than they do to a lot of their old groups of friends, kind of pre-COVID. I mean, the combination of COVID and NFTs has, I feel like, had to have put a massive wedge in between former and current life for a lot of different people. The combination of being separated from everybody they're used to know and connected with these whole new groups of people that probably have a lot in common with them now has created probably a tremendous amount of change for people just interpersonally. And, you know, Vertigo, just kind of taking a look at your identity, spiraling down the rabbit hole. Want to just kind of capture that feeling.
I love that context. And it's looking at it and hearing that, it fits so well. You know, I wouldn't have been able to, of course, tell that exact story just looking at the art, but it makes a lot of sense. It's one of those artworks that just personally that spoke to me, but I didn't feel the need at that particular moment to go deeper. I left it there for the time being. And now I find it fun to be here and to hear you put it into your own words and contextualize it. Makes all the sense in the world.
Awesome, appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And so how about go to First Street Bridge, which is your at this current moment, at the moment of recording and release, is your current artwork up on Superrare.
Yeah, let's make it darker all of a sudden, right? Yeah, I mean, it's essentially somebody jumping off of the First Street Bridge downtown. I mean, so the other side of downtown Los Angeles is kind of an industrial wasteland. There's the LA River, which separates kind of the last vestiges of kind of the clean-ish LA as soon as you get across the river, it's just all kind of destroyed warehouses, train tracks, boxes, graffiti, homeless. It's dystopian. And the bridge is kind of what takes you from one world to the other. And this is from the other side of that world. This is from the bad side. I mean, you wear hiking boots. I wish I had some. I'm taking photos of needles when I find them. I wear hiking boots though, because they'll go right through athletic shoes. Just
Yeah.
That's some IRL alpha right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Necessary alpha if you're going
right.
to
Right. Yeah.
go on the journey. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just like the it was kind of how I felt, right? I mean, like essentially just falling off a bridge and being caught by something other.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a powerful gallery that you've developed, right? It's a powerful gallery. I don't know, it's just sitting here and I was aware of your artwork peripherally.
Yeah.
And then once we had a chance to spend some time together, I went down the Patrick rabbit hole, so to speak.
Yeah.
But sitting here with you today and again gaining that contextualization directly from you, it gives me a whole new layer. So I just really would encourage anyone listening to this conversation to go to your Superrare page and spend a bit of time there and see what speaks to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that tremendously.
Patrick, let's play a game.
Yeah.
Let's play a quick lightning round.
Oh my God. I want to say one more thing real quick though.
Please. Yeah, of course.
The thing I'm most excited about right now is we've been working with Monogramma hand in hand with 2 Amazonian tribes. We're working with the chief, his son. They've been at war with each other for 500 years until just recently. The government down there, the Bolsonaro government, does nothing to enforce their territorial borders. So they're getting overrun by loggers and miners. These guys roll in with convoys and guns. They chop down whatever trees they want. They're diamond mining, gold mining. I mean, they're ravaging, and these tribes can do nothing. They have no repercussions legally or otherwise. So we launched an AR gallery for them to sell some work, to help raise funds, to help fight back. But the story has been disseminated a little bit in the community. So we've got 60 artists right now from the community who've all created work. And we're going to be launching a project with Monogramma's new Twitter, with their new Superrare space. Mm-hmm. We're going to geolock all 60 artists' pieces around the borders of the tribe. So the tribe has gone around their tribal borders, and they've got all the locations. So we're going to be placing every artist's work in solidarity around the tribal borders. So that's the big current project. So hopefully that's on March 7th, we're going to be releasing that. So
that was my question, March 7th.
Yeah.
Where to keep eyes out for that? What's the best place? Is it your account? Is it through OMS? Where would you recommend?
It's going to be Monogramma, and then my account, and then Superrare is going to be promoting it. So it should be, we should bump our way into your feed regardless.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
I'm excited to read more about that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's play games.
Lightning round. Let's roll with it. Let's just have a fun one today. Let's go all over the map. I think you may know the drill, but it's first thing that comes to mind. Right. If you want to break the rules and hit timeout and go off on a tangent, you are more than welcome to do so.
This might be where I cut the feed entirely, right?
That's it. Just boom. All right, you ready to rock?
Let's do it.
All right, topic number 1, ETH.
ETH. All right, explain the game then. I might have missed the rules.
I'm going to whip a word, a phrase, a topic at you, and just say the first thing that comes to mind. So it's first thing that comes to mind, what that particular thing, in this case, ETH, what it means to you. It could be a resource for someone to check out. Really anything that's top of mind as I lob these your way.
All right.
All right. Clean slate. Let's start again.
Yeah.
Topic number 1, ETH,
Utility.
NFT,
Art.
the metaverse.
Rabbit hole.
I swear my next phrase was rabbit hole. So keep going. Rabbit hole.
Abyss.
Glitch art.
Frenetic.
Superrare.
Opportunity.
Batsupium.
There's so much I want to say off of
Go.
the first thing. Yeah.
Go. You can go time out there and say as much as you want.
Yeah. I want to do I want the emoji of the fist.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's what I related, of course, to his iconic avatar image that's been used for a while. So I appreciate that one.
Yeah.
The last piece of NFT related artwork that made your jaw drop chronologically. So it could be today, it could be yesterday, just something you saw recently that made your jaw drop.
Badia Chow's piece for the Olympics that just sold on Superrare.
To check that one out. All right, how about let's go a little bit of a different direction there. An artist that you believe should have a lot more eyes on his, her, or their work.
Netso. She's an Iranian artist, dissident, protester.
Okay, I'll link all this stuff up in the episode thread. The best story, not attached to your artwork, of course, but the best story going in NFTs today.
Trustless systems.
Mm-hmm. Tezos.
Indie.
Your favorite image artwork to draw.
Ooh, favorite image artwork to draw? Skulls.
How about your favorite image comic book?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying favorite image. No, favorite image artwork. Oh yeah, it's easy. Spawn, Todd McFarlane. I mean, he's the man. Yeah.
How iconic the issue 1 artwork of Spawn. I could just immediately bring it to mind.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you know these things.
Oh, are you familiar with James White? James White, his artwork?
No. Which one did he do?
No, just in general, James White, Signal Noise in the NFT space. Fabulous artist, but we have a bit of an inside joke around image art and the artist Jay Lee, and so I think a number of us share an appreciation for image in general. Yeah.
Okay, all right. We have to have like the subgroup. Yeah.
Maybe this is another poker game. It could be the image appreciation poker game.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, we'll keep the Marvel people out. No offense to, but really kind of offense to Marvel. Yeah.
All right. How about a couple more topics to wind down there? How about poker?
Expected value.
Mm-hmm. The first drawing, pre-image, the first drawing or self-defined work of art you can ever remember creating intentionally.
I did a fruit bowl.
Yeah,
with chalk. Yeah.
Nice. Do you remember what was in the bowl?
Yeah, it was like an apple, an orange, and a banana.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I love nothing more than the nostalgic feel of going back to the earliest memories, especially for someone who's come so far and has had chapters to his art career. To go all the way back and to try to dredge up the earliest memory.
Oh, that was dredged. I hadn't thought about that in 25 years. Yeah.
let's go. I'm going to ask what's next, but I'm going to ask it in two ways. Now, you gave us some insight into the March 7th project that you have a hand in, which sounds amazing. But let's go. Name one thing that's next for you within the next calendar year. And then I'm going to give spoiler alert. The next topic is going to be name something that's next for you within the next decade, but probably won't happen within that first calendar year.
Gotcha. The next thing is going to be a stronger focus on consumerism.
Mm-hmm. And then how about the thing that you won't get to this year, but you would like to get to or expect to get to within the next 10?
It's outside art, but I mean, I'm working with a couple of museums right now, trying to onboard institutions to Web3.
That's a hell of a mission. I mean, I think it's inevitable. So keep that up. I think it's incredible work to be focusing on that now, and hopefully there's some serious inroads that are possible there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Patrick Amadon, this is the first of many. We're committed now. We have a 20-year ride in front of us.
Let's do it. I look forward to it.
And for real, this is really, really enjoyable. I said at the poker game, I'll double down on it now. I think that your perspective, right? Not just the long-term nature of it, but also the critical thinking that you encourage within this space, I think is something that is very important. And I think we'll just have, as you said, I think you framed it in the next couple of years, there will just by necessity be more critical thought put on this space, on the art side of the space. And I for one am excited to see that happen and excited to see that move forward.
Roger, thank you. It's such a pleasure to talk with you. It's an honor to be here, and just thank you so much for your time. And it's a pleasure to have met you, and I look forward to you hopefully not taking any more of my money at the poker table.
Oh, stop! You're coming back for it. I know. We'll have our battles.
Yeah.
We'll have our battles.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Here's to the next one, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.